what this really comes down to is the danger that has always been with us from intellectualism, from the idea that this expert knows what's best for us and in fact knows what's better for your life than you do. People like the people we saw at the beginning of this video say that they follow the science, that they listen to the science, follow the science, but they don't listen to the science because they don't know what the science is. I do, and other people do too. They don't listen to the science. They listen to the scientist, and that is an entirely different thing. Appeals to authority have always been extremely effective on the human psyche. That's why when you see a guy with a white lab coat with a stethoscope around his neck, you'll do pretty much what he says. Guy could be a convicted murderer for all you know, but if he looks like an expert, then your chances are you'll probably do what he says. And this is the curse of intellectualism. You have people with very, very, very deep knowledge about a very narrow range of things. And they therefore think that since they know so much about this one thing, they know so much about other things too. And as we get deeper and deeper and deeper into the 21st century, we find something extremely disturbing. And that is simply this. The tyrants and mass murderers of the 20th century were open psychopaths. They were just murderers. They came up from the ranks of street fighters and murderers. Hitler had his own private army, used to beat people up, executed people without a second thought. So did Stalin, so did Mao, all of them. But these people are different. These people are people who have used technology and made the same kind of decisions that those tyrants have made. In other words, decisions on how people should live their lives. But the difference with this group of people is that people like Fauci and Zuckerberg and Bill Gates and all the rest of them, in order for them to achieve the power they've achieved, they haven't achieved it through ruthlessness and guns. They've achieved it through intellect. And my experience has been that when you deal with somebody with that level of intellect, you're dealing with people who are well on the autistic end of the spectrum. Virtually all of them are pretty severe cases of Asperger's syndrome. This is not a slam against people with Asperger's syndrome. It is a simple statement that Asperger's syndrome is defined as the lack of empathy, the lack of ability to emotionally connect with other people. The people that are running our world, controlling the information, controlling the medicine, controlling the vaccines, controlling the economy, are people who have no emotional connection with other human beings. Not in the sense that you and I do. They simply don't feel it. And that, I think, is inarguable. I have been saying, and I wish there was an alternative way to do this, but there isn't. Give it to them. This is what you voted for. This is what you want. This is what you believe. Give it to them. I came to this realization with that analogy. I'm not going to say it again. I've said it 100,000 times. I've told it too many times already. But when you ask young people to give up their cell phones so that you can take that money and distribute it to poor people, all of a sudden they're not socialists anymore. They don't care. Young people don't care if you're banning firearms because they don't have firearms. They don't own firearms. They don't care. Seems like a good idea. Seems safe. But they do own these things. They do own video cards. And when it becomes clear to them that the state has said you cannot buy the thing you need for your entertainment because it draws too much electricity, they're going to look at them with the same look that we look at them when they say, well, you can't have a gun with can't have a rifle with more than 10 round magazines. Are you insane? Are you nuts? Good. That's what we want. We want them to say, are you insane? Are you nuts? And if it doesn't get down to this level, then they will never say, are you insane or are you nuts? It is the purpose of modern education to destroy any understanding of the past, any understanding of how this civilization works. You can talk about the First Amendment till you're blue in the face, and then somebody like Mark Dice will go down to the pier on Santa Monica and say something like, hey, do you think we ought to repeal the First Amendment because people are saying hateful things? And probably 8 out of 10 young people will say, yeah, I think that's a good idea. They don't get it, and they never will. But they don't care about the First Amendment, but they do care about being able to do what they want to do on the internet all the time. And if you try to tell them they can't say something on the internet or can't go someplace on the internet or can't do something on the internet, now all of a sudden you've got their undivided attention, which is why the idea that California, this is not apparently in the works right now. If you order a gaming PC in California, you can't get one. You get a message saying, I'm sorry, this can't be sold to you. It draws too much electricity. The only way we're going to get out of this obsession with things like wind and solar power is when the electricity goes off. Now, that's at least for Californians. Many states and many other people are more sensible than that. They don't have to go that far. Maybe you're one of those people that live in those states. Used to be an American myself. But here in California, people are so enamored with the theory, and they've been given this ideology for so long and for so hard that they genuinely believe that we can solve our energy needs by generating electricity that doesn't generate electricity at nighttime or when the wind isn't blowing. And nothing is going to change their minds except for when they sit down to play online and they cannot get into Fortnite because the electricity has gone out. That is the only thing that will get their attention. And you may say, well, geez, things have gotten that bad. They have. But let's not forget, this is a universal procedure, right? One of the truest things ever said is that a conservative is a liberal who's been mugged by reality. Here's your mugging.